Peace, and welcome to another episode of Chicago Detox. So on this episode, I guess it's like a holiday or whatever you want to call it, by it being 420. So this episode, I want to talk about the legalization of marijuana and the recreational usage of it, but also basically like people of color need to actually, get some sort of reparations for it. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much that's how I feel. So let's talk about it. Okay, so with 420, and it's pretty much like the beginning of like the commercialization of marijuana, because I don't know how many, but it's probably almost about like 18 states, that have it legal as far as for medicinal purposes, but like they're really pushing on the forefront to actually, make the transition to actually change, just change the law period and, actually make it, legal for people, over 21 or 18, however they gonna do it. But my main thing, obviously, like they're talking about, like doing like the decriminalization of it and actually, pardoning people's convictions, and actually overturning them. But, that's cool and fine and dandy. But, the real thing, like, I really didn't, really want to like dive deep into it. But once I seen the mayor of New York, de Blasio, you know what I'm saying? And don't quote me on him being the mayor. He might be the governor. But, de Blasio, I think he's the mayor. But he was pretty much, he had a strong stance basically talking about, dealing with like reparations, but that wasn't his direct quote, but he was more so gearing at, people of color, like black and brown people, such as myself and, maybe like you if you're, like those are the people that should actually be benefiting from this because, it's actually a multi-billion-dollar business, and if you don't know, like certain states like California, like they've, got out of the red, like they've, they were pretty much in the hole. And then once they brought the weed in, it's pretty much kicked everything back up. So it's like the reality is like, like this is something that's actually, creating, for one, is creating economic development like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there's, it's so many uses to it, from the medicinal purposes to the recreational purpose to the actual, uses of like hemp paper and all the other, medicinal assets that you could actually utilize it for. So it's like my main point is like, we need a seat at the table, because when they first introduced it here in Illinois, they were pretty much I believe the requirements were really, like really steep as far as like you had to have like, like a $1 million bond and like, they have to like, know your, know your history as far as like how you've been making money for the past like 10 years, and it's understandable because they do the same thing when you're dealing with like, with licenses to try to get casinos and stuff like that with the gaming commissions. But with that being said, like, we need a seat at the table, like seriously, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like like it's like if the hand has been dealt, like just say y'all dealt me a bad hand, you know what I'm saying? And now it's the time where people could come to the table and actually play, like you got to rethink this, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like this is stuff that you could sustain legacies like this, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like a lot of like the country was pretty much built on blood, sweat, and tears, of like our ancestors, So the reality is like, just say we at a 400-year disadvantage, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like if we could actually, correct that would actually be something that could help. And, people are already talking about it, like with the ADOS, the American Descendants of Slaves, so the reparations is already being talked about, but it's just, making everything a little equal, and it's not really more so just really thinking about overturning marijuana convictions. It's more so really thinking about the future, like longevity. Like people are like actually building empires and legacies with this stuff. And that's kind of the only way, we'll ever be able to, get ahead. Because if we have our seat at the table and could actually, have some type of equal, treatment within each other, because it's like once corporate and like Philip Morris and Walmart gets to it, like we live in capitalism. So at the end of the day, that's pretty much what it is. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Like open up the dialogue. Like, are you happy for it? Are you, do you just want to get like your weed convictions overturned? You know what I'm saying? Or do you actually want to, see how you could actually get in where you fit in and see if you could, you know, step into the multi-billion-dollar industry? Because once it becomes recreational, then there's going to be, it's going to be an immense abundance amount of, dollars being spread into it, and the industry is just only going to evolve, so it's like you usually want to get on top of an industry, you want to get ahead at the forefront, like if you think of like, like Facebooks and MySpace and, all those type of things, like with the technology thing, where like when most of those people were starting, people didn't really know what it was. But now since, that's kind of social media kind of runs the United States, like that's pretty much it, like I think, well, I about know for a fact this marijuana thing is going to be big. Like the governor, Pritzker, he actually has investments in dispensaries. So he's really going to be pushing it, and it's going to be something that's going to be happening, soon. So it's like we need to be in on it, and I'm just putting this out there so you can know. So let me know what you think, And like I said, you could follow us on Twitter and subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, commenting on it, But thank you for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Detox. Peace.